Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to that exciting, riveting, and amazing, spectacularly wondrous propaganda cast from your host from Pearl Dane, the one, the only master propaganda hero, psych defender of the fatherland, of Hito 1v1 on Glorious Fate Holotny Falmer. Blah. Haven't seen a match on this one in some time. In the West, it is Kazakh fighting for the Red Army, the Soviet Union, Comrade Stalin, taking on the role here of the 20th Tank Corps with airborne troops featuring airdrop weapons, airdropped heavy machine guns, airborne rally points, Guards airborne troops, and the Sturmovik rocket run with double infantry mines. Versus these, it is Scoped fighting for the Oberkommando West, Germany, Deutschland, here with the 7th Panzerdivision with the Grand Offensive, Special Operations and Luftwaffe Ground Forces. No watch from him. Triple infantry bulletins there. Also, big hearty thanks to Mayor Big Me for donating and supporting the propaganda cast with his hard-earned money. Big thanks to you. And to anyone who calls out to support me on Patreon, you too can join the ranks by pledging on Patreon. So you can always donate. Links in the description. Always comment, like, share, subscribe, press the bell button. Oregon engagement up north between the Sturmpioneer and the Ignis around the northern compartment. Scoped is looking to breach and frustrate here Kazakh's early game, but Kazakh here, the favorable ground, is able to ensure that this push from Scoped does not come quite to pass as he'd like to. That said, of course, Scoped can just make progress up. So now we got one Sturmplaner squad keeping 2 infantry squads occupied, though there's obviously a limit to how long he is occupied and how much time he can then buy with this. So even if the push initially doesn't succeed directly, you can still have some, secondary victory condition, like just tying up 2 infantry unit in your squad and in your infantry unit and deny them a bit of ammunition for a while there. Southeast sandbags up, they're not going straight for the fuel pump there, but neither is Kazakh. Third full squad way for Scoped, and we got engineers to busy laying down barbed wire. Sturmpioneer versus the Consul there. Consul was quickly falling back behind a dead horse and then a wooden cart for cover. Going at the southern point. Consul towards the centre. Following that there for Scoped. Sturmpioneer moving out. And we got a 4th consort there for Kazakh. More consorts there for Kazakh and the Red Army. Bit of a hold up here in the south. Focusing turn northwards, here, trying to surround the conscripts in the centre. They're not bad. They're Sturm's tank for the church. They're down to 2 men, so there's obviously limits to how far Scott can push. Those chaps come back in the centre with the Fultons pushing 40. Rifle fire catch from himself, Sergeant. There go 1 man down. More troops up there for Kazakh. Troops pushing onwards here for Scott. As the assault is forced onwards. Up north here, Conscript forts having laid down sandbag, fighting position to prepare for a push there from Scoped, if it ever happens. But full conscript squads there. This is full conscripts. I mean, obviously we're going to see S-54s here. But what about Scoped? I mean, the Doctrines can sort of directly benefit the most of this Luftwaffe ground forces, say Valiant Assault or Special Operations with infiltration tactics. Ground offensive, well, certainly a solid Doctrine. Doesn't necessarily have much synergy with a lot of Volksgrenadiers. That said, of course, it doesn't have to synergize with 4 Volksgrenadiers, but typically, if you're committing to that many basic infantry units, you're a lot of the time looking to perhaps create some sort of doctrinal synergy, like, Kazakh with a bunch of S-40s, for example. Flanking back, we got a force coming to deal with that. Meanwhile, getting flanked here. That said, they're suddenly caught in a crossfire here from the German infantry, and we see the Kazakh pedaling backwards there, but as all this happening, he's also made a raid for the car pond there, catching Scoped off guard there. Thumbs up to Kazakh. Nice tactical read there. Scoped turned around this by launching himself forward, well, specifically launching his men forwards here at Kazakh. Bit of skirmishing there up north, Sturm hunting forwards here with minesweepers in hand. Looks like here that Kazakh's little plan has slightly backfired him, but at the same time not too much. Are they still holding his opponent's fuel and then denying him fuel? Well, of course, he's securing himself a bit more fuel than his opponent. So thumbs up there to Kazakh. We got the battle headquarters set there for Scoped. Could result in a flak half-track here. From Scoped versus Kazakh would be a standard choice. Flak half-tracks have been very popular after the most recent patch. Not they weren't popular before, but they became very dominant after that. Consuls, the Fulton communities here almost got the centre victory point there. Back here, troops reinforcing healing for Kazakh and the Red Army. Can begin dropping in the airdrop weapons once you get munitions, but of course, in this regard, Scope's initial munitions harassment and other bits there has actually made it harder for Kazakh to just, start dropping those SV-40s in larger numbers. Battle group headquarters up, medics on the way there. Centre being secured. Scope's now control the map here. Fulton is hard at work laying down those sandbags. Mein Gott, sie sandbags, sie wäre tan, weil sie voll filled is. Sand. Really? Ja, sand weighs a lot when you put it in bags, you Dummkopf. What's next? Bullets hurt you, my God. How did you even pass through basic selection? Here's just the Volksgrenadiers. Up north, you got Volksmen for northern munitions. Comes can gain the Sturmtuning at max range. Good work, he's got the mines up. Of course, always a good idea to check for mines, in particular from the Soviets, which, if the opponent is good, will lay down a large number on. But there you go. First drop out there. Got some S-54s up for the chaps there. Back here, troops setting up. Mechanized upgrade there as well for the Belgrade headquarters, opening up for the flak half-track if you so decides it versus Cossack, which typically you do. Particularly since Cossack currently has no anti-tank weapon, so a field gun or a flak half-track right now would be quite an issue for Cossack to deal with. He doesn't have like access to anti-tank grenades, so mostly could maybe like drop in a heavy machine gun to somewhat slow it down. But unless then Scott plays his flak half-track very poorly, that wouldn't be too much of a hindrance in the long run. But we'll see. I mean, he could go for the flak half-track, but there's certainly every possibility. He may just try and go straight for the Schwerpundit quarters, skip the flak half-track, and just try and push for panzers instead. Infantry running on the centre here for Cossack. In the south, country forces there we go. Do get the flak half-track 251-17. Later replaced, I think, with the 251-23, which replaced the 2cm gun with 3 triple, either 15 or 20mm anti-aircraft guns. Well, specifically, they were basically just machine guns from older aircraft. They've just been upgraded with even bigger ones, like I think 30mm, and so they used the older ones to form up the flak drilling. They'd be mounted on flak half-tracks, trucks, and they'd even like, I think there was a very converted T-34 from 6 with the basic created, shall we say, a bit of a rudimentary turret, and then stuff the flak drilling on that one as well. Anyways, flak half-track almost done there for scope. Volksman 40, Sturmgewehrs, Karnat TKs, comes there with the mercenary guns. Petrov catches on fire. We got more troops pushing forward here for Cossack. Heavy losses here for Cossack as assault running into too much resistance from the Germans. Infantry dropping like very fat flies. And we do have tech here for Cossack, no check for the tank chain command, because Russia at T-70. We do have the flak half-track out here for scope. The South Country force there for Cossack and the Red Army. Flying with Kednev is obviously expecting some sort of light vehicle to try and ruin his day. And his flak half-track stay there. Equipped with a 2cm flak gun, which was the most common German flak gun, which would increasingly as the war went on, and aircraft got more heavily armoured group used for, well, anti-infantry purposes and anti-light vehicle purposes. In fact, they form up effectively like assault units of them. Just used them like, again, as like heavy machine guns to just suppress infantry and deal with light vehicles. Little fun fact there. Little fun fact there. North Point there being seized. Got the Kednev out there for scoped. Field gun almost done there for Cossack. It says 3 divisional field gun. Another weapon drop hit for Cossack. Got 2 squads upgraded, with the third one, of course, being upgraded. That's definitely going to give him some extra punchy versus scope. The scope, of course, needs to be careful not to open themselves too thinly, since the infantry could, of course, easily push through if he's not careful. And certainly also be careful about leaving the flak half-track a bit too close to the front line, since, you know, this means the field gun can come up and just start shooting at it. Oh, we actually got a heavy machine gun here for Cossack. Not a bad idea either. We got 470 versus 444 so far. Scoped has a lead here with Cossack. Not a big one, but a lead nonetheless. Coming for the southern munitions point, flak captures the country in the centre. North, you got the folks with the conscripts there. Troops suppressed. Folks with the conscripts. Troops suppressed here, being murdered slowly by the flak half-track. Up north, they're routed here by the engineers, comes back in the map. And of course, can merge quickly with the engineers if replacements are needed. At this rate, the conscripts are the ones needing replacements, not the engineers. Of course, there's another conscript at hand there to keep doing there. Go Sturmtuning Radar, but still, Scoped is doing good map control, both fuel punch control plus victory points. Definitely gives them some resource to work with. His opponent can definitely, I think, give him a good hand there as a opportunity to push for some relatively fast time versus Cossack. Was yet to go for the T-70, of course, maybe that Cossack isn't going to bother with the T-70, probably thinking if he does that, he might actually himself open to the Panther 4 Model J, and instead just going to try and like push hard and stall for, say, a T-34 from 6. An interesting read, and I don't think it's a wrong one here, honestly, by Kawasaki to do that, though. Obviously, it's going to leave him a bit more open to the flag half-track and the infantry, but at the same time, the way he's planning things so far, it may actually just work out here for Kawasaki, in which case it will be the superior choice. Flag half-track needs to get out of there. Volksman get to counter-attack there. One for down in the north, they got a machine gun out there for scope to support troops there. The folks are being shot to bits out in the open here. The discount making, well, very light work of them. So Carpont hit again, field disrupted once more. Nothing near squat there for Kawasaki. Not be surprised if that turns out to be to build up the mechanized armor company. Filtering towards the centre, more arriving there heading northwards. And of course, we've got the fuel pump back. In this case, going to do it while fixing up the flak half track. Nice bit of multitasking there. Let's go. Thumbs up. Back troops getting ready. Half point hit, ground in the centre. Mechanized armor company, so as expected, it's going to be a T-34-6 rush here for Kawasaki. And has he been a bit more dire, I think it obviously been a lot more risky, but the sort of, shall we say, semi-consistent fuel harassment scoped. Now there's good pushes there, I definitely think it's possible and certainly a really good idea. Trying on the way, the scope of course going to take up himself, move for the Schwer Panzer quarters. He's probably also at this point starting to suspect his opponent's going to be rushing for T-34-6s himself. And so at least having the preparations ready for armor is never a bad idea. That said, it's going to take them time to get there because partly again the fuel harassment, but also because, you know, in terms of like timings, normally the Zerg player would go for the T-Sin, which would get more time to get the Panther 4 ahead of time, but him skimming the T-Sin of course gives him just more room to push for that T-34. So he's actually looking at currently in a few minutes he can go for the T-34-6, but meanwhile Scope is going to be quite some time away from a Panther 4 model here, so this is going to be a really strong move there by Kawasaki. And leave Scope there, a bit dangling in the wind. Setting up here by the southern field point to defend it, also cover the calf point a bit. Scope having yet to commit to production, up north constantly falling back. Southwards, Jumpini moving forward here for Scope and the Red Army. Folks moving in here, we got close to 2 on those chaps. Field repositioning, folks are caught here. Probing the flanks here, the front line there. Scope is hoping to find some easy entry points here versus Kawasaki, but Kawasaki is proving to be a bit more of a rough opponent here and is not providing any easy ways, so shall we say, enter the heartlands of Kawasaki's territories at the moment. Thrusting Scope here. He continues not to use his doctrine. Still not clear idea what he's actually planning here, except I imagine tanks. So there we go. Schwer Panzer calls up. Still need to authorize it, so that's another 30 fuel away. At which point it's going to be, you know, about 5 to 6 minutes away from a Panzer IV Model J. Meanwhile, at least current rate could be even longer, could be faster. Going for the line gun here, authorizing at the same time. Of course, meanwhile, Kawasaki is moments away from the T-34-6. At which point things are about to get a bit spicy there. Let's go. Machine gun at the south side, flank after forwards as well. Northeast looks like he might be activating some progress there. Kawasaki has left things perhaps a bit too extended, a bit too thinly defended. And this could lead to a break for Scope, but doesn't seem to follow up on it. Just enforcing healing. Got the ND-34 moving forwards. T-34-6 there for Kawasaki and the Red Army. Comes with the Volksgun is this SVT-40s versus the Sturmgewehr 44. Lightning gun there for Scope. Grab the center for the conscripts. Tractor wrecked, just in case. T-34-6 halfway done, in fact more than halfway done here for Kawasaki. Once arrived, Scope with only one of the kid in there is going to have a slightly tough time against them. I mean, in a pinch, he could equip the Sturmpioneer squad with a Panzerschreck here for 60 munitions, which would provide a bit of extra anti-tank firepower. Of course, if he does that or not, but it might be a consideration here that could be forced upon him. All the way T-34 out. Kawasaki following with assist feed to field gun number 2. Thumbs up to that. So there you go. T-34 rolling ahead here for the Red Army. Mortar here for Kawasaki, but artillery himself, of course, is getting hammered here by Scope. thumbs up as well there to both players in this regard. Having light artillery, of course, is always a good idea. In particular, as a map like Holotny Fermo, which is definitely a bit more narrow and compact, light artillery can be an incredibly strong investment. T-34 continuing with an aggressive pursuit up north here. Troops routing here in the face of the T-34 from 6. We've got another KNF scoped. Obviously, where he is under armoured attack now, we'll need more than one KNF to have a reliable charge to stop the T-34 from 6. To move towards the centre here. Oh, we do have some mines there. Thumbs up to scope. Could have mined more, but I think get more than that. Meanwhile, Kazakh, interesting enough, I don't think I've just been doing that much mining of any. But there you go. T-34 looking straight for the coal point. Straight to the KNF there. Nice shot. Punch him straight through the armour. Need to fix up that flak half track and schnell. Counting in the sandbags there. Back here, the conscious discus sitting out there. Cossacks mechanized armour company so far remained silent. No more T-34s to guard to the front line. Gunline gun firing away here once more from Scoped. Firing straight in the centre, comes from the fire. More of those ready here. The PM41 82mm mortar. Shot fired. Nice shot there. From south there comes down some of the Vector Point engineers there and plus a counter squad. Bit of back and forth here, but no significant manoeuvres from either side at this point in time. That said, Jet's being demolished with the full squad inside, costing Scope the entire squad, then the main matter of moments. Meanwhile, closing on that Panther for Scope, but Kazakh is actually not far away from another T-34 from the same machine around here, assaulting to push through, opens up a gap, then we could see the heavy machine crew go down, but narrowly escapes them with the gunner surviving as anyone else around who gets cut to ribbons. Whoa. That was some very bouncy, burned out steel. And there you go. Panther 4 mod gear there for Scope. Thumbs up. Panzerkampfwagen 4 Ausführung J. Grab the centre there. Up north, points also being seized here, but the Volksgrenadier in the south. And U-34 valiantly seizes the southern machine gun point. Flak half track with 7 kills, veterans 1. Hadn't quite really do as much damage as I imagine Scope would hope for. And is crucially yet to hit that sweet spot of that 2 where it gains a damage bonus, which really is where the flak half track starts to shine, like a beacon in the dark. Landfront there, so far no kills, but certainly got some damage in against the Soviets. Panther for Moldy almost done, and Kazakh can now go for another T-34. In fact, does it as soon as he has the feel for it. Thumbs up with Kazakh, very nice timing there. Timing can be one of those things where players I think at times slightly slack off. So if they're like, you're looking to improve, besides just like, handling the basics, trying to improve your timings can also I think be a significant way to gain some increased win rate there. And it's not gonna lead to a massive boost, but it might give you 3 to 4%, even 5% increase in win rate if if you can sharpen up there just a bit. Second T-34 from 6 on for Kazakh. Ken Corporate Engineers up north, people about to get annihilated with the T-34 from 6, 10 kills already. People I think tend to underestimate just how effective the T-34 from 6 actually is versus infantry. Can really do some damage, partly due to the main gun, but also the whole machine gun. Actually gives the T-34 from 6 some incredible anti-infantry potential. Which only gets better, of course, against more veterans. You just get a lot more of them, which you typically will, since again the T-34 from 6 is incredibly affordable. Panther against the T-34 from 6, engages, shot punches through. T-34 gaining the Panther 4, pushing him back. Sees this with the Dishka. Fun fact about the T-34, there's actually numerous versions of it. You had the T-34, you also had the 76, you also had the T-34-57, which had a lower millimeter but higher velocity gun, which actually had better penetration against other tanks, but that one's I think produced in fairly smaller numbers. And then you of course had the T-30-35 with a bigger turret, bigger gun, and you also had after the war, you had the T-34-122, which was basically an attempt to upgrade the T-34 with a massive gun, similar to the IS-2, but the gun was simply put too big for the turret and the tank itself, and so that was scrapped. But you know, bit of a fun fact there. Contract, and then you could find on the south. T-54 between the flak half tank, right on a half health. Panther 4 here with 1 kill. Another field gun there, mod for Kawsak. We got 445, 224 on the center. Big push here by Scoped. Infantry routed. Still a doctrine of the Scoped. At this rate, I definitely have to question what he's planning here, since he normally do want a doctrine. Seems like Scoped can't quite make up his mind here. T-4 taking for the Kedner from mortifying way there. Half 8 of X-21. Panther 4 setting out and gaining the T-34 from 6. Whips a bit there. Flak half tech fixed up. Shot fired, penetrating the T-34 from 6 and south. The machine being engaged with the T-34. Need to get that machine gewehr to safety before the Soviets put it 10 feet under. Or just dump it in a ditch outside somewhere of Leningrad. And he's advancing the Panther 4 here. Shot fired, whiffed. Could soon go for another T-34 from 6, which is going to add some more challenge here for Scoped to deal with, who still hasn't gone for the doctrine. At this rate, though, it's starting to look either like Luftwaffe ground force for the airborne assault, spare cuts the command Panther. In theory, he could also go ground defense for the Tiger tank, though that'd be a bit awkward. But I do think he needs to strongly consider doctrine. So meanwhile, Kawsak needs to consider, well, getting lucky then, taking out the Lekednev for the field gun hit. In fact, now Scope's actually headed to the anti-tank on the Lekednev to his opponent. Not great for Scope, but great for Kawsak, as he now has 2 field guns and a Lekednev. That's going to add some problems there for Scope to deal with and contend with. Can soon go for a Panther 4 mod Gator, but again, what is Scope's major plan here? What is the strategy? North here, bit of skirmishing by the northern victory point here. We got 441 versus 224. I mean, Scope still has a magnificent lead over Kawsak, but are starting to appear some cracks in the facade here of Scope's otherwise strong position here, as he's starting to lag behind in terms of population compared to his opponent. And again, the lack of the doctrine is also looking slightly disconcerting. Another Panther 4 there for Scope. Thumbs up. Panzerkampf 4 as from Jod. Panther 4 arriving, so perhaps less likely spare cops with ground defense, which might increase the chances of being looked for ground forces simply for the airborne assault, which I mean is a powerful ability when used correctly. If used correctly. If whiffed, obviously, you know, you just gave the Soviets an air parade, but that's about it. Panther 4 halfway done, and now the T-34 for Kawsak, so both sides so far just committing to more medium armor. Nothing wrong in that, nothing wrong in that. It's efficient. And it works. Got it from the Panther on the T-34 from 6, which while is eventually 2.5 8 of the ace. In fact, has 24 kills. Really highlighting just how powerful and well-handled T-34 can be just when it comes to dealing with infantry. Filters the country in the south. T-34 half number 3 halfway down. There you go. Second Panther already here for Scoped for Germany. Deutschland. T-34 on the full screen with some heavy shot there to the backs. Getting the field gun moving forwards. Panther 4 moving out. Other Panther 4 ready. And we go caught in some intense firepower here from Scope. Troops taking a lot of damage to go pin down. Go rocket strike in here from him on the flak after the Panther 4. Which of the two is it? Looks like the flak half tech gets knocked out here with the 3rd Air Force. No, neither does. Ooh, that's a bit unlucky there for Kawsak. I mean, they both took damage, but they also both survived. That said, that does mean the Sturmpile is going to be overworked. They need to fix up both fast. In fact, the other Panther 4 is also in dire straits. I mean, in fact, if you consider more Sturmpines to get them all back and working. Oh, he gets the Panther 4 there. A striking blow here for Kawsak against Scope, who still hasn't chosen a doctrine. Got the field gun, but loses the Lekednev again. Oh, got a T-34 there, which slightly, you know, mellows things out here for Scope, but, you know, leaves Kawsak in a slightly more awkward position. That said, Scope really should choose a doctrine and, you know, choose a more specific strategy here versus his opponent. Also may want to get some of those victory points back. Panther going northwards. Gonna finish off that T-54 from 6, if he can find it, of course. He doesn't get himself back between the two there. Which is exactly what happens. Ooh, bad call there by Scope. Should have sent in some infantry, I think, to scout ahead of time before sending a heavily damaged Panther 4 like that. T-4's gonna ram it. Oh dear. Both heavily damaged here. Shot bounced. Forces moving forwards here. Shot bound. Oh, missed. And there you go. Another Panther 4 down here. Great trait there for Khaosak. Scope is down just the flat half track. Khaosak can, of course, quickly fill in the gap with more T-34s from 6. Of course, one of the major advantages of the T-34s from 6 is you just lose one. You can easily replace. Hell, you lose 2 to take out the Panther 4. I mean, you're typically still going to be able to, like, trade favorably in the longer run. And there you go. Flat half track down here as well. Scope clearly has been rattled here by Khaosak. The losses are piling up. Artillery firing down the conscript, not landing too well here. Truth being suppressed with the disc, and he's almost got the T-34s from 6 here, but he's taking intense losses in the process. There you go. Third T-34 down, but Scope really took a beating in the process. That was definitely not favourable trades here by Scoped. And definitely some fairly bad trades there for him. He finally got a doctor, and he's actually Luftwaffe ground force to provide smoke here to retreating units. Should have gone for that soon at least. I mean, that might actually help his Panther 4s out a bit there, to be honest. Now the T-34 for Khaosak, of course, he just quickly holds off an O on the production lines. Troops heading out there. Light gun cleared out. Still, Scope does have the point needs to begin stabilised here. He might still have a chance of this, but he really took a thrashing there. And again, I feel like I'd be drawn for those doctrines. And again, he'd been out of position. Hell, imagine doing some of these engagements, actually calling the airborne assault. He probably could, like, taking out the T-34s without losing the Panther 4 in particular. So, definitely highlights the necessity, like, choosing a doctrine sooner. Because, again, it gives you just, like, more tools to actually react in the right moment. Like, imagine if you had it already just, made the call, rest when he hasn't chosen a doctrine, you might, like, have to weigh up the options, like, oh, do I go for this doctrine to make this move, do I go for this doctrine to go for that move, and then you just, like, wasted the opportunity, you lost the tanks. So you definitely should have gone for the doctrine much, much sooner here. But I had some Fallschirmjägers out, then again could have used the Vanguard Assault and all the other stuff there, so definitely necessary to choose a doctrine much, much sooner than it is. But at least he chose one. At least he chose one. But there you go. Another T-34 up. That's it. Scope can go for another Panther 4 Mollier now. So that's great for him here versus Khaosak. That is great. But the losses are high, and Khaosak has 4 infantry squads versus Scope's 2 Volksgruppen and Sturm Pioneer squad. He may want to consider either some Obersoldaten and some Fallschirmjägers to add something a bit more elite here versus Khaosak. Because trying, I think, to catch up now with just Volksgrenadiers, because for new ones here, I think would be a bit of a fool's errand here for Scope. As raw Volksgrenadiers versus, ace conscripts are with, SVT-40s or Sandman squads, I think it's going to be too much for, a tall order there for them. So you need something with a bit more punch right out of the back, either the Fallschirmjägers or the Obersoldaten. Of course, the Luftwaffe ground forces, the Fallschirmjägers, of course, are the more tempting, in particular with like 4 FT-42s, they can definitely get some damage in. But again, light machine gun wielding Obersoldaten might serve better due to the having better long-range fire. So we'll see there. But the Panther almost done. Scope definitely needs more infantry, and he definitely needs a bit more careful with his units. Glorious push in the centre here. Wrecked the light infantry gun, denying their artillery to Scope. Very good. Panzerkampfwagen 4 aus von Jod. Effektsbereit. Jeschke supporting the attack here along with the field gun. Ken was about to get cleared out. 300 points left here. 298 versus his opponents. 183. Panther rushing forwards. Going in pretty aggressively. You've got mines to lay down aggressive by Khaosak. Thumbs up. Could try and call in the air support here. I don't think that'd be a bad idea, bad timing here. I mean, there's a lot of targets in small vicinity here. Got air support called in here by Khaosak on the Panther 4. Angle there is not the best. Almost got the T-34 from 6 here, though. Still no air support to here for Scoped. Oh, there you go. Finally calls in. Could easily call in so much sooner. I think that'd be much more devastating here for Khaosak. I think he might risk it set off the mine there, right next to the T-34 from 6. So yeah, not the best doctrine usually here by Scoped. Air support running down death here on his opponent's forces. T-34 looks like he might escape here though. Lucky Khaosak though, lucky. Less lucky Scoped. Fighting makes holding, but now he's lost all his Volksgrenadier escorts. He is down to next on infantry now. Racing right there with the Panther 4 straight into the field, and we're coming up on the other side. Another T-Fed forces for Kawasaki. He's just racing with the base, looking to take it out here. But Kawasaki is already ahead here for scope. Very nice. Bit dicey. Oh, he actually has to use those grenades along. No anti-tank grenades left for Kawasaki still. That is actually a bit interesting. Second one halfway done. Panther 4 taking northbound route here to avoid any sort of anti-tank interdiction. I think that's very good there. In the center machine gun, the Dishka and the MG-34 easily loses out to that. Up north, they're fixing up the Panther 4 Graham Northern Fuel Point. Troops reinforcing healing, still needs more. Falcon makes business in the south, adding the FT-42s. Thumbs up there. Maybe, of course, consider calling in more, and probably should. FT-42s with the conscripts, plus some Kar 90Ks and to get the other one up ready. I want to try to punch a grenade at the right time. Or not. Or not. Still, Falcon is there getting the upper hand due to being heavy cover, unlike the conscripts. Of course, had he popped the grenade, they had more FT-42s already there. He'd probably in a slightly better spot. But definitely, I think he should consider calling in more Fallschirmjägers while he can. Panther 4 there hold back, hasn't the engine fixed. T-Fed for rushing forward here for Kawasaki. Second one is also good to go once more. Scope remains under intense and merciless pressure here from Kawasaki and the Red Army. Sturmpionier on the right, here's the field gun violently being tossed forwards there. And we got another cannon for scope to help deal with the armour. But crucially, not a lot of infantry. Ergo, I can caught with the T-Fed Fulton 6. Easy just steamrolled. I don't think Lekem's going to make it back over Burgos. There you go, the Panther arrives and narrowly saves Lekem for here. Close call there for scoped. Close call. Courtney careful to get rammed and rocket struck. You have a classic Soviet airborne troop tactic combo, and there you go, rocket strike on in the Panther 4. Going for the Blitzkrieg to avoid it that way. Thumbs up to scope. Managed to render that rocket strike pretty much a waste of munitions here for Kawasaki with a little Blitzkrieg. Excellent. Unless of course you're Kawasaki, in which case you might be slightly swaying over that one for yourself. Or by yourself. Troops setting out here for scoped. Keep it going straight for the Panther 4 back into the field gun, but the field gun can't use the hit. He could try and attack ground, but risks getting caught up there in the ruins of the building. Another hit from the Panther 4, he's closing eventually too. So the infantry pushing forward through a very narrow gap here, which could of course lead to heavy casualties from the Panther 4. Scoped is not too far from another Panther 4 at this rate, but risks getting, I think, swarmed at this point by Kawasaki's sheer numbers. As Scope just hasn't been using his resources efficiently, but he's been floating a lot of manpower. As there's clearly some hesitancy here, but Scoped again at this point of the match. Need to fix up that Panther 4 again. I'm guessing he's setting up for another Panther 4, which means he's basically fighting with 2 infantry squads again versus 4, plus a lot of support weapons, which really makes things tough, as you absolutely need infantry to achieve things along with your tanks. So the lack of infantry is right now proving to be, I think, a significant Achilles heel here for Scoped. And he will find himself, I think, significant constraint which they're able to achieve without understandable amount of infantry. I mean, my personal rule of thumb is always minimum 3 infantry squads. That's the minimum. Normally you want like 4 infantry squads, like best results. You can push into 5 if you really like infantry, you do well with them. 6 is, pushing it, but some players can manage 6. But above that, you're typically like got too much infantry though. But rule of thumb, 3 to 5, 6 if you're good with infantry, 7 if you're drunk. There you go, Panther getting break between the 2 T-34s and the 6s. Got some guards airborne troops out for Kawasaki. Thumbs up to replace the lost conscript squad. Panther knocked out. Another single blow here to the German army with this. Kawasaki, I think, very much has scoped under his boot heel. I don't see Scope winning this anymore. Like, he's just suffered too many losses. He's also trying to replace his losses with Volksgrenadiers, which again, at this point in time, I think he's just going to end up being a less than efficient idea. In the south here, Falcon is catching the counters there. Need to bomb grenade to have the best option to victory. But looks like he's not paying attention. They're going to get wiped. Can go for another Panther 4, but again, I don't think another Panther 4 now as all these tanks will go up. Did get the wipe, but the Falcon got themselves killed as well. Not a great trait there for Scoped. Particularly not considering how little he has left. Now smoke smoke bombs there from Kawasaki to cover the T-34. Now the Panther for Scoped, he's apparently still, I believe, an NC, or believer in the Gestapo's threats. There we go, Scope surrenders, GG, game over. A victory here for the Red Army, a loss for the German one again. Scope, I think, had a nice sort of early mid game, but kind of dropped the ball, partly not choosing doctrines, also not mining enough. Had some issues with unit preservation as Cossack was just, I think, much more focused, aggressive, and opportunistic, which, you know, I think slowly built into more and more advantages. Scope just struggled to like turn the game around there. So there you go, well played by Cossack. Hope you enjoyed this match. I learned something from it. If you did, subscribe, like, share, comment on it, tell friends, tell family, but don't tell enemies. This is Imperial Links in Cheers. Thank you for watching. Until tomorrow again for another episode. Bye.